Hello everyone, myself Dr. Tarkeshwar Barwa, and now I am going to show you some practicals and 25% of theory and rest 75% practicals about Spring. So let's start now. So I'll start from the basics first, some theoretical concepts. So Spring, why now question arises, why the Spring is very popular? What is the reason behind it? So the main reason behind the Spring is it is providing IOC container. It is providing dependency injection, and it is managing the objects by itself in the background. So let's start the Spring. Spring is nowadays very popular because in the industry and the enterprise applications, many enterprise applications are developed in the, especially in the banking sector, website development, REST API development, and many more. Building a web applications using Spring. So let's understand why Spring is very popular. And Spring is in which we implement all the responsibility in the same executable artifact, and in this we can see this one application can fulfill all the use cases. So here I'll show you some use cases as well. So in this we take the responsibility can sometime implement within the module, and that can help to the application be more comfortable to maintain. The logic behind the Spring is to maintain the modularity, and modularity in the sense of small applications can take place as per requirement. So that's how application in a Spring becomes very lightweight, and they are always faster in the performance. So in comparing to monolithic architecture, in the monolithic architecture we are creating a huge application, big application, and that application becomes very difficult when it comes for maintenance. And in case any difficulty is coming, any problem is coming, in that time it's not possible to resolve immediately. So that's how we do not prefer monolithic architecture. That is a very old approach. A microservice architecture has a responsibility implemented with different executable artifacts. So in because it is a lightweight, and if you create multiple applications, and these applications can be very easily, you can integrate or you can connect together. So that's why always creating small applications are very big approach or very good approach. You can see the system as being formed of multiple application that executes at the same time and communicates between them when needed via network. Yes, nowadays many of the applications are working through the network, and the network plays very important role in any performance of your application. So that's why we need to design application in such a way that in case of loose connectivity of network, still we can do something another solution. So this is called fault tolerance. Fault tolerance can be handled by application automatically. Fault tolerance not only in terms of network, fault tolerance can be achieved in terms of any type of failure occurs. Maybe performance, maybe not responding, maybe some data incorrect data. So in all cases it is takes place here. While this offers more flexible and scaling, yes, So Spring is very popular because of its flexibility. Any module can be integrated at any time, and it as per requirement multiple instances of the application can be launched in the system to load sharing, and uh, uh, in case of more requests are coming, so that can be scalable and very easily. Multiple instances of the same application can be created, and between them we can deploy load balancer and introduces other difficulties. We can enumerate here the latency, security concerning network and distributed persistence and deployment management. So what is the main advantage of this? The main advantage of the Spring is POJO classes. So this POJO classes stands for plain old Java objects. So it is aimed to overcome the application problem by enabling the use of simple Java beans, and it enables the developers to create test application very easily. And these are the simple classes, and POJO classes you can generate very easily. So we will discuss here how to generate POJO classes. So for just right now I am going to create one application in the Spring. First I will start from the scratch, so that's why I will create a very basic project, a core Java project, nothing fancy here in the core Java projects. And with the help of, by the timing Eclipse is getting started, yes, Eclipse has been started. Now I will create a fresh Spring application. Spring Core app. And see here I will create a simple I'll create for package com dot Tarkesh, and I'll add one more class. Let's say person. POJO class is person. So here private long, anyone you can take long integer. Let's say integer. Either you can take primitive data type or wrapper classes, it's up to you. Integer PID private string name address phone number, and now we are ready to create, we are ready to generate getter status equals and hash code. Getter status has been created, and now I am generating hash equals and hash code and toString. So first getter setters are used to set the value, get the value, and getter hash code is used to provide generate hash code, and that is a unique value for each and every code. And a string toString is used to print all the values available from this system. as a string, and equals is method is used to verify the correct object getting loaded into the memory. So this plain Pojo classes, as you can see, I have generated this Pojo class very easily. So Pojo classes enables the developers to create a test applications easily, and it is aimed to minimize the dependency of your application on its framework. So it is a completely loosely coupled. So dependency, once it will be injected, it can be managed later. But once it is injected, and after injection of the value, it works like it's a local variable, a local dependency. It enables the use of the simplicity and the ease of testability in the standalone application. So what are the major modules or major speciality about the Spring? So Spring is a lightweight because it is not allowing to create more than one object, and the object has been created, that the complete life cycle of your Spring is maintained by the Spring itself. So that's how it becomes very lightweight. And pluggability, any object, any module can be injected, connected anytime you can remove. So anything you can plug or remove. Dependency injection, the dependency injection supports. So first of all, we need to understand what is dependency injection. Dependency injection is nothing, it is simple injecting object inside another object. That is called dependency injection. And once injection is done, then it works as a local variable. So it is not dependent on the variable it was injected, because after injection that variable object is considered as local variable. And next one is aspect oriented programming. In short, we call it AOP. This aspect oriented programming, you can take example. For example, I say you have developed a nice application, and this nice application is working fine. This application was developed for sales billing, but unfortunately you forgot to implement discount feature. So how would you inject? So the injection you can do with the help of aspect oriented programming. Whenever it is needed at the runtime, you can inject another module, and so that it can work only for that time, and other rest of the time it will not be, other application or parent application will be working. Child application can be injected as per requirement, or so we call it a point cut, where we apply the advice. So this type of applications achieves advice and point cut. Especially this Spring is coming from EJB. So most of the concept is coming from the EJB. EJB stands for Enterprise Java Bean. So EJB was a Java specification defined in the JCP, Java Community Process, and it is supported by J2E vendors. And this required EJB required license to perform this, to do anything, and it provides a set of pre-packaged features, most which you may not need it. So whether you need any particular module or not, they are by default they are coming with EJB. So unnecessary it is creating heavyweight applications, but Spring is very lightweight, and all the modules, only core modules can be used in the system. As per requirement, other modules can be connected with the existing application, or you can integrate anytime. The Spring was developed by, the company name is Interface 21, It is enables you to implement only these features that require for the application. So let's see this one, and we are going to work with a Spring. So Spring jars. You can use Spring jars, jar files you can download, or you can do Maven or through the Gradle. So right now I am going with a very traditional approach, the very basic approach. I will download a jar files from the internet and then I will use. So this is the website from where I will download jars. Jars are coming as a zip file, and the zip file can be downloaded. So it's loading now. Yes, so many versions are available, and according to the where when they were modified last. So I'll go with the latest and stable release, that is 5.2.9. So this one I will download, and in this I will go with distribution DIST, and I will save it. So it will take time, it's very fast. So by the time it's getting downloaded, it provides a clear separation between the controllers, models and views. So it is providing feature of MVC. We call it a model view control. It is highly flexible and like a struts, and it does not implement interfaces. And Spring configuration you can do with the help of annotation as well. So we'll discuss all about this in the upcoming sessions, how to configure Spring with annotations and Java configuration. And so this interfaces forces you to action and perform the operations in the concrete inheritance. It provides the controllers for handling user requests. It supports several views technologies such as GSP, velocity, tiles, and GSF, timely free marker. It provides controllers that can be easily configured through dependency injection, just like any other application object. It allows the development of application that is easier to test than the struts MVC web application. It allows the implementation of the validators as application objects, which are not dependent on the Spring APIs, and it does not impose the dependency on the controllers. It provides convenience controller implementation. You can extend if required by the application. It allows you to integrate easily with the existing technology. So this is a time for question. So which one of the following feature of the Spring eliminates the need for the code lookup, allows pluggability and reuse of the existing code, and makes application maintenance and testing easy? So of course that is dependency injection. Answer is dependency injection. So this is the architecture by integration of multiple application multiple modules. So my Spring jars is already downloaded now. So I'll go here. This is my Spring jars. I will extract here, and after extracting, so this is the libs. So this is the folder where all the files I need to attach. So this is I'm adding these libraries in my application. So library class path and add external jars. I have downloaded here. This is Spring libs. So each and every jar file is concerned about the particular modules. Whatever modules you want, you can add, but here right now I'm going to cover core part, so that's why only these three are enough. But for safer side, or I'll just add all and finish. And you can see here all the jar files are added into my application. And after this we require one application, that is main app. And main app I will write I will create one file, XML file. So with the help of this we will XML XML file name, you can keep any name. Let's say new file.xml, that is enough. Okay, so this is my XML file. Okay, let's proceed with theory. So XML, this Spring Security, email sending, Hibernate, all these require one servlet container. So while we work on the MVC, so MVC is required to work, or web application, Spring Web require one web servlet container, because servlet is completely Spring is completely based upon the servlets, and these servlets require one container, that is Tomcat, Jetty, JBoss, anyone you can use. But many people they prefer Spring Boot. In the by default in a Spring Boot, Tomcat is available, so the Tomcat is considered as a default one. And then next is as per requirement, if you want to eliminate default web server, you can servlet container you can eliminate. And you can see the many blocks are there: Spring Core, Spring DAO, Spring AOP, Spring ORM. So these all are modules, and these modules can be injected or connected anytime as per requirement. So similar files are here available here. As per requirement, files you can integrate, you can connect with for DAO purpose, for Spring ORM, for Hibernate, DAO, Spring Custom Business Logics, Pojo classes. Just now I created an employee class, and a web application context, providing a message for controllers, model, view, JSP. You can integrate timely, free marker, or any many technology you can integrate with this. So let's have some more detail about the module, and the very basic module, that is Spring Core. So this is what I am going to show you on my application. Spring Core application provides the fundamental functionality of Spring framework, and it requires the framework core package to be insert, and it contains the most important component of the Spring framework, the Bean Factory container. So this is the main module that is required for any any module to start, because this is considered as a base. So it applies the dependency injection to separate the object initialization, creation and access from the actual application code. So this is the description about the Spring Core, which just now we have seen. Spring web application does not force you to use everything within it. It is not all or nothing solution. It is existing front-end built-in technology like Timeleaf, React, Angular, Webwork, Struts, Trapezy, and JSF. Anyone you can use, or other UI framework also, if you want, you can integrate with this, and the integration can be done perfectly with the Spring based middle tier. It allows you the use of transaction features that Spring offers. The only thing that you need to do with the wire up your business logics using an application context. So let's start so first the main question arises here. So how can I start configuration? Lot of Spring configurations are available on the internet. You can download the basic few tags. I'm just downloading. You can search here Spring Core. This is just for testing purpose, because in the beginning we are not aware with the Spring more, so that's why just for testing purpose Spring XML configuration, right? So I will just open this, and you can see this is my configuration. Any configuration you can copy, and you can see here this, and my configuration is done. Now my configuration is ready, basic configuration. Now I can start the configuring bean. I can configure bean, that is bean. What is the name of bean? What is a class? Class name is com dot Darkesh dot person, and ID name is person. Any name we can write. Name you can write P. Person. Anything you can give. It is or you can set alias name, right? And now I can come here and I can ask application context equal to new class path XML application context, and here I can pass the name of my application file, new file dot XML, the file we have created. Okay, so this XML file is used to create IOC container, and the IOC container, from the IOC container we can make a request to get the object bean. So application dot get bean. So what is the name of the bean? In my case it was person, right? And what type of object we are expecting? So person P, So by default, this application context is providing type of objects. So if you want willing to convert into this, we need to typecast person. So this is typecasted, and now if you see here, I can write, I can print P. So the values of the Spring container can be printed here. So yes, so this all thing is coming from the IOC container, and as I said, it will create a singleton. How can I assure that it is a singleton? Because in a Spring, a singleton is a default scope. So I can, for the time being, I will comment to string, and this will give me the memory location. And see, always it will give you the same object, not new. So this is some address, right? And if I copy the same, so 3 times I will do that. P1, P2, and this is P1 and P2. So this bean I'm trying to get, and if you see here, always it's getting the same object. It is not creating a new object. The same object is providing again and again, and it is initialized. So let's come back on this theory. So Spring Core is the core package, is the most fundamental part of the framework, and provides IOC container dependency injection features. I'll show you how the dependency injection works. The basic concept here is the bean factory, which provides a sophisticated application implementation of the factory pattern, which removes the need of the programmatic singleton and allows you to decouple the configuration and specification of dependencies from your actual program logic. So the Spring context. What is Spring context? Spring context is a package built on this solid base provided by the core package. It provides a way to access the object in a framework style manner and fashion somewhat reminiscent of a GNDI registry. The core package inherits it from the bean package and adds support for internationalization. In internationalization, in short, we write I18N. And next module is DAO. DAO, data access object. It aims to standardize the data access work through technologies such as Hibernate, GDO, and GDBC with the help of this can be integrated with from the package DAO package within your web application. It enables you to write simple code without worrying about the database related tasks. It provides the exception management hierarchy for managing database connection. So many times we face data incompatibility. That's why your application may not be executing correctly. So this is DAO is a good solution to avoid such type of exceptions or errors message. So the same explanation is given here. The DAO package provides a GDBC abstraction layer that removes the need to do tedious GDBC coding and precising of database vendors and specific error code. And GDBC package provides a way to programmatic as well as declarative transaction management, not only for the classes implementation special interface, but all the POJO classes, plain old Java objects. Next module is ORM. ORM stands for Object Relation Mapping. So this module is used to interact with your database. So objects can be interact with the database. Why we need this? Because in the tables database side we are storing data in form of table, but in the Java we store object in the form of objects. So that's why objects must have to be mapped with tables. So that's why ORM tool is used to integrate a layer for popular object or relational mapping APIs, including GPA. GPA is a specification to communicate with database. GDO, Hibernate, IBTs. Using the ORM package, you can use all those ORM mappers in the combination with all other features Spring offers. This is the ORM tool, ORM module. ORM module can be integrated from the package ORM within your web application, and it enables the developers to integrate their Spring framework with several other ORM tools. It is a build upon top of the DAO module to provide an easy way to build a DAO for ORM tool. It is supported by the Declarative Transaction Management service of the Spring framework. Aspect Oriented Programming, AOP in short we call it. AOP is a package provided an AOP Alliance compliant aspect oriented programming implementation that allows you to define, for example, method, interceptor and point cuts to clearly decouple the code and implement functionality that should logically speaking be separated. Using the source label metadata functionality, you can also incorporate all kind of behavioral information into your code in a manner similar to that .NET attribute. The Spring Web package provides a basic web-oriented integration features such as multi-part files upload and functionality, the internationalization of the inversion of control. IOC supports inversion of control using the servlet listener and a web-oriented web application. When using Spring together, the webwork and struts, these are packaged integrate with this. Aspect-oriented programming, AOP can be integrated from the package AOP from org.framework springframework.aop package, and it is help you to enable the Spring to provide support of implementation aspect with your web application. As it supports loose coupling of the application object, enables you to separate the application logic from the system level service called cross-cutting concerns. Spring MVC stands for Model View Control. Spring MVC provides model view control implementation using in a web application. Spring MVC works is not just any old implementation. It provides a clean separation between domain and model code and web forms, and it allows you to use all other features of the Spring framework. MVC can be integrated from the package org.springframework.web, and it provides features of MVC. With the help of this, you can separate the model application logics from the view or the UI applications. It enables you to integrate the several other MVC framework like struts or webwork. The main part of the core part of the application is that application context. This can be active or integrate from the org.springframework.context, the package with your application. It is built on top of the core module and provides you with the ability to obtain the application resource. It provides the support for internationalization of message, internationalization in any other language if you are willing to language in the sense of human spoken language, like Hindi language, English language, Spanish, German, Tamil, Telugu, Marathi, Malayalam, Bengali, like that. So it is providing the enterprise level service such as GNDI access, EJB integration, email remote, and next one is web context. Web context is the extension of application context. This can be integrated from the web API, and this one the same package is providing MVC. It is a part of the web application development, and a stack also includes the MVC module. It is a build on top of the application context. This is what I said, and provide the context for the creating web based application, and it supports the integration the Spring framework with various framework such as Struts, Webwork, and JSF. Question: so which one of the following package do you need to implement MVC module in your web application? Of course, that is web, org.springframework.web. So how it works, how the objects are communicating together. So let's suppose we have object this object is connected to this object is connected to this, and with this object these two other objects are connected. So this is how application we develop. One object can be connected to another object. So you can, as you can see in this example here, order and customer and product. So order cannot be completed until we are not injecting the object customer and product. If both objects will be injected, then only we can complete the order. So this is called dependency injection. So EJB was developed by using a Spring Bean Factory. But Bean Factory was working on lazy loading, and the beans will be initialized whenever it is needed. But Spring application context, to increase the performance of your application, we use eager loaded. So as IOC container starts, one copy of your application is being already created, and as per requirement it can be served at any time. So this is how at runtime it will not consume any time. So this is faster. So Spring, the object created by the Bean Factory are fully configured and ready to serve auto wire or inject of the relationship with the other application and object. The Bean Factory is involved in the managing the life cycle of object that has been created. So the interface name is org.springframework.bean.factory.bean-factory interface. So the most commonly used Bean Factory is XML Bean Factory. This is what we are going to configure now, and it is represented by the org.springframework.bean-factory.xml Bean Factory interface. So this is what we have done on the Eclipse. We have copied some structure from the internet, or this is available. So these are the nothing but this they are DTD, because XML is a static language. Static language means once you have created anything, once you wrote any code, it cannot be changed. So that's why to know or to compile this, we need a DTD file, so that that file can compile at runtime, or you can say marshalling or unmarshalling. So these are the basic attributes of Bean. These attributes of Bean I have used here in this file. These are the attributes. You can use Bean as per requirement. ID is a bean is used to uniquely identify the bean in the Spring container. Name is considered as a alias name. So I can change here. Let's say I can write here only P. So it's up to us. We can use anyone. We can use anyone. So still my application is working. So person name is P. So this time I will use P and then check what happens. So still my application is working. Either I can call with P because ID and alias name is given there. So class name, we need to specify the fully qualified name. So that's why I'm using here in my this com.tarkesh.person, which class. So I cannot write directly here only person. Fully qualified name we must have to write. And the finally scope. By default, if you do not provide this, the by default scope is singleton. If you want, you can change here scope. I will write by default is singleton. Prototype by default is singleton, and let's check. Prototype. So bean is used to scope, change the scope, and this is how. And not only classes, we can write here, we can add here interfaces as well, not only classes. The to instantiate a bean factory in your web application, you first need to load the bean configuration file, and this can be done by using the resource object and defined by the org.spring framework core IO resources. And depending upon the place from where the bean configuration file is to be loaded, the bean that's why I'm using here XML class path, because this XML is available on the class path. So that's why I'm using an XML class path application context. If it is available on the somewhere in the file system, then in that case I will use a file system. So that depending upon the place from where the bean configuration file is to be loaded, and the Spring framework provides several implementation of the resource interfaces. Though two basic scopes are available in the bean. Singleton is the default scope. It provides a shared instance of the bean within the particular name and places in the factory. And prototype is a single instance of a bean and guarantee that the user request will result in the creation of an independent bean for a single user only. So this is how we can make a request for the bean from the IOC container. That's why we are writing here get bean. So you can retrieve an instance of a bean registered under the given name from the bean factory by using the get bean method, and this method takes the ID of the bean as a string value. When get bean method is called, the bean factory container instantiate the bean and it's a property through the dependency injection. So dependency injection also we can inject. So how we can provide the dependency injection? So in the name, address, phone number and PID, right? So I want to inject the value. So how to inject the value? I can write here property. What is the name of the property? PID. PID, let's say I will write 1, and I will write name. I will write name. Name is Okay, and now I can execute this. Property name we have injected. Value is 1, my mistake. Value is this is the value I want to inject. Okay, gone, and let's check. So data has been injected or not. Okay, I need to uncomment to string, then it will work because it's showing the memory location. Yes, so that PID and this one is injected. Now it's I want to add through the constructor. So constructor, these two other values I can inject through the constructor. Okay, for this purpose I need to add one constructor. So right click and I will add constructor. Let's generate a constructor. I will add more than one constructor. You can generate as per requirement. Constructor can be loaded into the memory, and I want name and ID already I done, and I require one zero parameterized constructor or default constructor we call it. So default constructor, this is how we can generate, and done. And now we are ready to add constructor property, constructor arguments. Constructor argument, what is the name of this address, and what is the value address. I will write Agra. Okay, so like this I can inject. One more, constructor argument, name of this phone number. I will write value, and this is my phone number, and let's check if it is working. Right click and then run my application. Yes, that is executed now. So when we have seen the injection through the constructor as well as through the setter injection. So when the get bean method is called, the bean factory container instantiate the bean, and it's a property through the dependency injection. And not only this, we can inject the other classes as well. So other classes like I will create one more class. Let's say I have a class email class, private string, type of email, and private, or I will write here itself email. Okay, so this email ID I want to inject in the person. Okay, so before that I will generate here getters and setters. So I will generate a getter setters equals and hash code, to string, to print the results, and see how we can do that. And here I will add private email email email, and then I will generate getters and setters. Only getters and setters are needed, and it is ready to work. And this is how it can be integrated because toString is not according to that phone email. That's why I will generate toString along with email, so that values can be printed. Okay, so now in the person class, similar way, the way I have created a bean, I can create a bean of using email, okay, and I can write email ID, okay, and this one is optional, so you can remove this because I don't want this, and scope is by default singleton is available, so there is no need of this. And according as per requirement, you can write properties using constructor, using setter injection. So using setter injection I will do that. So in this what are fields are available, only 2 fields I created in this, and these 2 fields I will inject, I will write here. Okay, this is office email, type of email, official, okay, and the email ID is okay, and finish. And now question arises, how can I inject in this? So I want to inject through the setter injection, right? So I want to inject, if you want you can inject through the getter injection. So instead of writing here value, I will write here reference of what? Email ID, this one, this ID you must have to pass here. So this is how we are injecting the dependency through the setter. If I want through the constructor, I will write here. So I don't want to inject right now. So let's proceed how we can, is it working or not? Yes, some problem is coming. So let's check what is the problem here. So let's read the message first. So what is saying? So in the being a developer, you must have to know offending resource, class path, resource, new file. What is the resource name? PID, bean, P. Yes. So this PID. You can read this, what is saying? Configuration problem, multiple property definition for property PID. Multiple time we have declared PID. So where we have declared PID 2 times, let's check. Oh, PID two times. Oh, this is a problem. This one should be type of what is the name of this here? Email. Email. Yes, this is the problem. Okay, and now let's check. So it's ready. So the bean is injected here. So this is called dependency injection. Let's proceed. When the get bean method is called, the bean factory container instantiate the bean and set the property dependence through the dependency injection. After this, life of the bean begins. After this only life of the bean begins in the inside containers. So what are the steps are taken or to instantiate the bean in the bean factory? So first object must have to instantiate, then populate the beans properties and set bean name and set bean factory, then pre-initialization, bean initialization, post initialization, and bean ready. So some methods or some operation you can perform before creating a bean. After creating a bean, before creating a bean, and during creation of bean, you can specify the operation or methods, and finally it will destroy. It is ready to use the bean after destroy. So now question: which one of the following attribute is uniquely identified? Uniquely identified a bean in the Spring container? Of course, that is ID. Next, so it provides a mean for the resolving text message, including the support for internationalization of the bean. It provides generic way to load file resources such as image, publishes event to bean which is registered listener, and as I have used here class path application and web application context, anyone you can use. It's as per requirement. If you are willing to use one of them, or code is you can see here application context, I have used first one. If the file is available in the somewhere in the class path, you can use that one. If XML file is available from the web application, from their application URL, you can pass here. In the application context, it instantiate, then populate the bean, set bean factory, set application context, bean initialization, initialize bean, post initialization, ready to use bean, and finally destroy. Question: which implementation of the application context container is used to load the bean configuration located at the specified class path? Of course, class path XML application context. And that's it for today, and in the next class we will see. Thank you so much.